Login boxes on the web have looked like this for a long time. Browsers have tried to help us by adding features like password autofill. However, operating systems have a much more user-friendly account chooser, whether it is Windows, Mac, Chrome OS, or others. We want to bring that account chooser experience to the web. Some websites like Quora and Hotmail, after you log in, already use this type of approach. But we want to also leverage the idea of OpenID and identity providers like Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and others that eliminate the need for creating new passwords. We're going to demo an account chooser working on two websites, including a version we have deployed internally at Google for evaluation. Let's say Sarah is a Yahoo Mail user, and she goes to a website she has not used before, but that website has deployed an account chooser. She'll notice the standard sign in action and click it. When she does, she has a number of choices in which she notices the Yahoo Mail button. Since she's a Yahoo user, she goes ahead and clicks that. At this point, she'll be asked by Yahoo to confirm that she wants to sign into this site and share some information with it. So, with the second click, she is then logged into that site, and that is all she has to do. Now, let's say she visits an online photo sharing web service. Again, she notices a standard sign-in action and clicks it. Again, notices the Yahoo Mail button and clicks it. Again, is asked to consent to share some information with this site and clicks agree. That is all she has to do. Interestingly though, this photo service is run by Google. Sarah actually already had a Google account that she had used for other services like YouTube, but for the last few years she had been used to log in with a password. Without even having to think about it, she just upgraded her existing account to use OpenID and will no longer need to type a password on Google. Other websites can use the same technique by deploying their own account chooser. Let's say Sarah needs to go back to the first site later. She will again click the sign in button, but now she sees an entry for her account. She clicks it and will be automatically signed in. If she goes over to the Google Photo sharing service, she similarly sees an entry for her account. Notice this entry has her photo because Google had pulled that information from her Yahoo account. Other websites can use this same technique to make the account list more personalized. But when she's ready, she clicks it and will be automatically signed in. Now let's assume for a moment that Sarah goes to a completely different computer, and we'll show that by switching into a private browsing mode. Now, on this computer, the first thing that she will do is to check her mail account. So we'll go to mail.yahoo.com, and we will log in as her. Now let's say that Sarah wants to go back to that first website. In this case, she'll again go and find that sign-in button, click it. Now in this case, her account entry is not listed because she hasn't used this machine before, but all she has to do is click the Yahoo button and she will again be automatically signed in. Similarly, if she goes over to that Google photo sharing service, clicks the sign in button, clicks the Yahoo button, and is automatically signed in. Notice the experience is designed to be very consistent across the different websites. Website operators may want to help users recognize that their website supports this type of simple login sign-up flow. Over time, these users will come to notice this keyhole icon next to the sign-in button. That is designed as a universal indicator that can optionally be included by websites that support this type of flow. It is worth noting, though, that when a user goes to add an account, they are shown a list of identity providers, and that list can actually be controlled by the website. For example, the website might include popular social networks. In addition, websites may show a different list based on the IP geolocation of the user. For example, if the site notices a user coming from Brazil, it might include a button for the popular Orkut.com social network. If a user does not see their identity provider listed, they can simply type their email address. If that address can use an identity provider, then the user will be redirected to that identity provider. However, the user might type an email address that does not have an identity provider. For example, tom@comcast.net, who has been logging his site with the password for years. Once he types that and hits return, he's asked for his password and now is able to log in. However, the user might actually try to sign in with an email address that has never been used on this site before, such as frank@comcast.net. In this case, he will be asked for one of these traditional screens, or he has to fill out a bunch of different information. To create his account. Now, most sites would also make the user find an email verification message that probably ended up in his spam folder, but we'll skip that painful part. If Frank needed to sign in again on this machine, just like with the previous situations, he would just click his entry for his account, type his password, and he would be logged in. Note that this machine now has multiple account entries for the site. For example, maybe Frank and Sarah are married and share a machine. One of the other benefits of the account chooser is that it helps people switch between accounts. For example, if Sarah sits down at this computer, she can just click and choose switch account, choose her entry, and be automatically signed in. They could do the same thing on Google's site with the account chooser, or any other site that deploys it. If you would like to learn more about the account chooser, do a web search for the Google Identity Toolkit, and you can bring up a site that will give you more information about the account chooser, as well as information about tools that can help a website deploy it. Over the summer of 2011, we'll be working with the identity community to finalize this approach so that websites can begin to deploy it. Google itself has started to deploy elements of the account chooser experience, though it is not fully deployed externally. As an example, let's say Sarah is a Yahoo Mail user and wants to sign up for a mailing list. When she clicks the option to join the group, she's asked to create an account. She chooses the option to create a new one. And now what she sees is similar to the Add Account page from the account chooser. This feature is actually live today on many Google services if you want to try it. Whether she now clicks the Yahoo button or chooses the option to type her email address, she will then be asked by Yahoo to confirm that she wants to log into this site. Now she'll agree. Interestingly, at this point, Google immediately logs her into her existing account at Google. We find that sometimes users visit a new service and don't immediately realize it is operated by Google, so they think they need to create a new account, or just aren't sure if they created one in the past. But this flow helps them quickly log into their existing account. Note that if Sarah had not previously created an account at Google, she would have been asked to provide some additional information. That information unfortunately does include picking a password that is specific to Google and typing it a second time to confirm it. However, Google has deployed a full account chooser experience on our internal environment for our employees to evaluate. So, if Sarah was a Google employee who went to that same mailing list site and tried to join, she would see an entry for her account, with a reminder that we haven't launched this feature outside of Google yet. If she clicked it, she would be immediately logged in, assuming she had given her consent to Yahoo in the past. Now, if she was using a new machine, the list of accounts would be empty, so let's show that. sign out, delete this one, and just go back to the Google homepage. And if she tries to sign in, see that same page which lists options, click Yahoo, and now be logged into her account. Let's go ahead and clean out all those entries again. Great. Now, the only key difference is that for a user like the user Eric, who is a Gmail user, if he visits the Gmail login page directly, he won't see that list of buttons. He'll just see a traditional login box. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to try to use a Yahoo mail address to log into Google Mail. However, once he logs in, his account will be added to the machine, and so if he signs out, there's an option for him. If he shares this machine with another person, like his wife, she can log in as well. They can then easily choose the option to just switch between those accounts. And once they've both logged in, they can just use the menu options to switch back and forth between them without having to type any passwords. If you want to learn more about the Account Chooser, do a search for the Google Identity Toolkit, which has more information about the Account Chooser, as well as information about tools that can help a website deploy it. Thank you. Login boxes on the web have looked like this for a long time. Browsers have tried to help us by adding features like password autofill. However, operating systems actually have a much more friendly account chooser, whether it's Windows, the Mac, Chrome OS, etc. We want to bring that account chooser experience to the web. Some websites like Quora, and even Hotmail after you've logged in, already use this type of approach. But we also want to leverage the idea of OpenID and identity providers like Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and others that eliminate the need for creating new passwords. Let's say that the user Eric is a Google Mail user and he is visiting a website where he has been logging in with a password for years. Normally, when he tries to sign in, he would expect a password entry screen where he would use his browser's password autofill feature. However, this website has rolled out the account chooser, so instead, on his next visit, he sees this screen with an entry for him and also an entry for his wife, who shares this computer with him and sometimes visits the same site. When he clicks his entry, instead of being asked for a password, he sees a pop-up from his email provider, in this case Google, confirming he wants to sign into the site. So with the second click, he is then logged into the site. If he ever needs to sign in again, he'll just repeat the process. But now when he clicks, he'll be signed in with one click because he's already told Google to sign him in automatically. Now, he might end up trying to go to this website on a completely different computer. And in that case, the computer actually won't have any of these entries. It would actually be blank. So when he came there, he just clicks sign in, and he immediately see this screen where he would simply either click the Gmail button or type his email address. And he did. Again, he would be logged in automatically. Now let's empty this out again. And let's switch over to another user, say Sarah, who's a Yahoo Mail user, who is visiting the same website for the very first time on her computer. So she would go there, click sign in, see the same screen where, again, she could either click the Yahoo button or type her email address. She'll go ahead and click the Yahoo button. and Yahoo would ask her for consent to share some information with this site, which she'll agree to. And then she'll be logged in, and this site it might ask for more information and just for testing to pick a picture, but other websites would probably get rid of this. However, after those few clicks and the page that's mostly filled in, she's in. And there's nothing left to do. She doesn't even have to do one of those annoying email verification links. Now, most users are extremely happy with this type of flow that avoids the need to go through a complex registration form, much less that email verification step. And many website operators may want to help end users recognize that their website supports this type of simple login sign-up flow. And over time, these users will come to notice this keyhole icon next to the sign-in button. That is designed as a universal indicator that can be used by websites that support this type of flow. It is worth noting that when a user goes to add an account here, that this website gets to control what identity providers are listed on the page for adding an account, such as including popular social networks. In fact, websites may even show a different list based on the IP geolocation of the user. For example, if a user is coming from Brazil, it might include a button for the popular Orkut.com social network. Now, if the user does not see their identity provider listed, they can still type their email address. And if that address can use an identity provider, then the user will see the same flow that the previous users saw. But let's imagine Jim works at a company or a school who runs their own identity provider, not well enough to be listed here. If he types his email address, he'll be redirected to his company's consent page. And in this case, he wasn't logged in, so we'll go ahead and do that. And he'll see a traditional consent page. He'll give his approval, and he would then be logged into the site. We're going to skip that for a moment. Now, the user might type an email address that doesn't actually have an email provider. For example, tom@comcast.net. In that case, the website might tell the user they have to use a supported identity provider, but most websites are likely to allow users to create a traditional password account. And so we'll fill that in. Tom Comcast, make up a password, pick a random picture. Now, most sites would also make the user go find an email verification message that probably end up in the user's spam folder, but we'll skip that painful part. Now, notice if Tom needs to sign in again on this machine, he would still see the list of accounts, pick his account, and now simply be asked for his password to log in. If he needs to sign in on a completely different machine, then I'll open a private browsing window. He could come here, type his email address again, type his password, and again he'd be logged in. And again, if he needs to return to the site, account user types his password. Very consistent experience in this case. Now, we just showed a few different types of users, but in some cases these users will share a single machine. Fortunately, in all of these cases, the users will start by either seeing a list of accounts or by adding another account to the machine. So click sign in, and if this machine is shared by two people, Sarah can click her link. She uses OpenID, so she's automatically logged in. If on the other hand, Tom comes to the machine, he can click his entry and be logged in. If the computer is shared by different people, then the person who sits down at the computer can actually even easily switch between accounts instead of signing out. So if Sarah sits down, she can just choose switch, click her picture, and boom, she'll be logged in. If you want to learn more, do a web search for Google Identity Toolkit, which has more information about the account chooser, as well as information about tools that can help a website deploy it. Thank you.